All the roll and go, where am I to go? Meet Johnny, where am I to go? For I'm a young and a sailor lad, and where am I to go?
Hello, and welcome to Where Am I to Go podcast. Today we are in Roswell, New Mexico, which is mostly famous for UFOs, but as we were driving around, we saw a miniature museum that is kind of right downtown, and I thought, what an interesting thing to come see. We did the miniature museum in Tucson, Arizona last year. I was totally fascinated, and so today we are in Roswell at a miniature museum, and we are talking with Elaine, who is going to show us through this museum. Welcome, Elaine, to Where Am I to Go podcast.
That's very good. Thank you very much. What I want to say is people come for the aliens, but we like to say come for the aliens, stay for the arts.
There you go.
And we are big at trying to promote arts and culture, and I think that's what started the mini museum. It wasn't a vision. It was a stray miniature that showed up and was available to me, and it happened to be Santa's workshop. And in investigating where it came from, we found out that it was made here in Roswell by an early miniaturist from the 80s, and there was a miniature society here.
Really?
So they called themselves Los Pocos Locos, the little crazies.
I think that would probably be an appropriate name, because if I had to work on stuff this small all the time, I would go nuts.
And there were 30 or 40 members, that came and left the group, but the miniature society was really big in the 80s and 90s, and then it started declining. Most of those people were in ill health and not on the planet anymore, and so then their kids figured out, we've got all of this stuff that mom and dad did or that my grandparents did, and what do we do with it? And so just one little orphan miniature at a time came came my way, and I included my good friend Nancy Fleming because she has an empty van all the time.
Oh.
And so we started gathering up the miniatures, and then more and more were from the Los Pocos Locos. And then just the evolution of realizing how important it is for Roswell to save that history and promote that history and acknowledge it so other people can enjoy it. And so that's what we did. So it took several years of just gathering up miniatures before we realized we needed a building. And then we bought a building and opened a museum.
Wow. That's an amazing story. It's amazing to think that you actually, Roswell's a fair-sized city. You've got, 50, 60,000 people here?
About 50.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And to think that you had a club of people or a group of people that were actually all involved in this miniature movement. It's a big movement, but it's miniature, yeah. And to think that you had all these people interested in miniature stuff, and they were manufacturing most of the things that are in each one of these displays. Is that correct, or were they just buying things?
There were a lot of things that they made. They were makers of the structures predominantly.
Right.
So Santa's workshop, that's not a kit. The carousel we'll look at, the Ferris wheel, many things they constructed and made. And then on the interior, there are a lot of needlepoint rugs that are handmade, or little miniature quilts. But many of the things also are purchased. And there were makers, big brand name makers from different parts of the world, Colombia, and even some furniture in Rhode Island was made. And the early furniture was made in various places, and wonderful German furniture. So miniatures have been around for, eons. And but for these people, it was they made their structures and then they they bought a lot of things that were just perfect for the accessories to go inside them.
That is
Yeah.
really cool.
It's
and so
super cool.
I assume that magnifying glasses were a big item for sale in the
Right,
80s and 90s
that is
here?
so true. Very. In fact, you had mentioned the Tucson time machine. You know, when you go into there, they give you a flashlight. So because a lot of the earlier miniatures weren't illuminated, you know, they weren't electrified.
Right.
And so they're dark in there, and so you need a flashlight to be able to go in and see them. But yeah, magnifying glass, we should do that more often. We should have a basket.
And I'm sure optometrists had a pretty good time too,
Right.
getting people's eyes to uncross after they spent all day.
You can turn that off. I just want to let you know that my great-grandnieces, Addison and Cameron, love this place. They love all the miniatures, and they just want to play with each miniature. And I said, no, you can't. It's, you know, keep your hands, because this is very delicate stuff. But we went around, and they had their favorite miniature houses that they just wanted Aunt Mary to buy for them to take home. And I said, no, I don't think so. But yeah, it's not just for us older generation. The little ones love it.
Yeah.
And that is, you know, Mary, why we decided one of our good strokes of genius was opening up the children's play area, because we've got fabulous doll houses in there that they can learn how to, you know, they can play, but then when they come into the museum, no,
That's where they're at right now.
Over in the...
And they went through the whole museum. They loved the carousel, and they loved the Ferris wheel, but they love specific houses, and now they're over there playing.
So now you got a recommendation
Okay.
to this place.
Awesome,
Actually,
awesome.
Linda and I, before we went to the miniature time machine in Tucson, Linda says, why don't we go to the miniature museum? And my comment was, why do I want to go look at a bunch of stinking doll houses? And we walked out of there, and I was so fascinated. I enjoyed it 3 times as much as what I think Linda did. She's never bragged about it the way that I have. And so I was excited when I saw the miniature museum, because I want to come see this again.
And the intricacy of each item and each little thing for each specific time period, they would go, look, a little cupcake, or they would go, look at the little dolls that they made, like the doll maker, and they love the Santa Claus shop, but each particular one fascinated them. So we are greatly appreciated. I'm glad I live in Roswell and can visit it all the time.
Yay.
Yeah.
Thank
That is so
you.
cool. Okay, so now most of these doll houses, were they constructed in the 80s, or do you have some really old ones
We
also?
do
or-
have some really old ones. This particular one, it's called a Bliss House, and
Okay.
and it's around 1900s, and they were making these in Rhode Island.
Okay, and so this was a kit?
You know, I don't know if I would call it a kit, but all of what's so interesting about it is the lithographic process for the decorations. So it was all lithography that made the walls, the wallpaper, the decorations. And so then the Rhode Island company put it together and then sold it as it wasn't sold as a kit, it was sold as something that was already put together.
Okay, and the house that we're looking at kind of looks like a farmhouse that I guess you would maybe see in Iowa, kind of 2 stories. There's just a couple of rooms. There's an upstairs room and a downstairs room with a sofa and a kid sitting on the couch and another one on the floor, and a lady upstairs with one of the trifold screens that kind of hides one of the old toilets with the tank that's way up on the wall. And the painting and design of the house is really interesting, as far as they've got bricks painted, yellow bricks, and then they've got the scroll works underneath the eaves and some of that kind of stuff, to where it's a very interesting house.
So I love that. So that may be one of our oldest houses. And then this is another little Bliss house with the same idea, the lithography of the bricks or the shingles or the decorative
Right.
decorative things there.
And then you've got a whole little case with
Oh.
little individual frames that has all kinds of little miniatures in it.
Right.
A couple people riding horses, a little stagecoach, little ship, couple cats, chickens, dogs.
And these are all metal.
Those are metal.
Everything's metal. So all of these little cats playing musical instruments, they're antique, they're made in Austria, and it's called a cold cast. So they're cast, I don't know what the process is, but then they are hand painted.
Okay.
And they're just whimsical, fun, little animals. And this little dog that has the red umbrella, the umbrella's articulated, so you know, he can kind of get out from under the rain, the umbrella if he wants
Right.
to. Yeah. Let's see. This is a local woman. She's passed away, but she was in Los Pocos Locos, and she was in Potter's Guild. We have a big pottery group here in Roswell. But she didn't want to make the big pots. She only wanted to make the little tiny pots. So she did her little miniature pots in raku or the terracige, all of the different techniques that the potters did, the lusterware, maiolica, their names of all these different techniques. She just did hers tiny, little bitty.
Okay, and people can't see the look on my face right now, but I've thrown some pottery. You know, it's something that I did a little bit of in high school. I still have a potter's wheel, and I haven't touched it in several years. But I can't even fathom throwing a vase-type bowl with a narrowed down neck that's only 1.5 inches tall, maybe even 3/4 of an inch tall. And looks just like the stuff that you would have in your kitchen or vases that you might have out on your porch. The painting, the designs on it is just absolutely phenomenal. And these pieces are really, really small. And I'm looking at a picture of the lady with one of these on her pottery wheel, and she does not have micro fingers. Her fingers are actual size. I have no clue. How in the world does she do that?
Well, and one thing, she made her own tools. So the family has given us Julie's dollhouse that she had growing up, but we haven't found any tools. And so I'm sure that they are like micro toothpicky kind of things. But
This is insane. Wow. Unbelievable. And the glazing on them, everything.
They're just great.
That is fantastic.
Let's see, what are some other good points to show you?
Okay, now she's looking around. She's got this look like she's looking around a great big store, because she's actually got an area here that we're looking in that's probably 70 feet long and 20 feet wide, that has displays all the way down every side and down the middle. And she's looking around saying, "What do I want to show you?" And I'm going, I can't
Anything.
believe. Yeah, there's everything.
Well,
let's go talk about your Christmas one over here.
Okay, sure. So Santa's Workshop was the very first one we got, and it was in a mess. And I was able to take it over to another museum and get it put back together. And the train does work, but
Really?
for some reason it's not happy at the moment.
Okay, and we're looking at a 3-tier workshop. We've got Santa down on the bottom checking his list. We've got a couch. This looks like Santa's living room. Mrs. Claus is over here setting up the Christmas dinner. Guitars on shelves. Stockings hang by the mantle. And then you've got a set of stairs that comes up to level 2 that has a ping pong table and a Christmas tree and a pair of long johns that are hanging from a hanger off of the armoire.
Well, this is the sewing room.
Oh, the sewing room.
This is getting things ready for Santa Claus.
Okay.
So then they can go ahead and be taken over to the wrapping section and then they can slide down.
Oh, I didn't even see the slide with all the
Yes,
presents on it.
exactly.
Coming down and landing right down here by Santa's bag.
That's right. He's getting
Wow.
ready. He's got his list and he's checking it twice.
And then on the upper level, you have a train set that goes all the way around, I'm assuming, to pick up the packages
Pick
to
up
drop
the
off at the...
Yep.
Wow. And there's toy animals, like a toy rocking horse and elephants on a little roller tray, a little helicopter, some airplanes.
Oh, all the sports, anything that a child would want for Christmas, we've got.
Yes, this is just fantastic.
So the maker was Joe Head and his wife Anita, and they just did amazing stuff. They didn't know that there was a kit for a dollhouse. You know, he was such an engineer and a designer, and they made wonderful things.
Oh man, that is just phenomenal.
These are really interesting. So just recently, a woman in Texas donated to us 130 or more doll houses and room boxes.
No.
So these are doll houses.
Room box.
This is more of a room box.
Okay, and a room box, go ahead and explain that for us.
A room box is like a room. It's like a one kind of room, maybe one or two rooms that you could set on a shelf in your home, set into a wall, but it's not a big dollhouse that's in the round that you can walk around. It's just to be seen from one side.
Right, and she gave you 135 of these?
Right.
And when are you buying your next building?
We just did.
I was going to say, this place doesn't have room for another 135.
We signed the papers on Valentine's Day.
Really?
We've got 7,000 more square feet.
Oh, man.
And we are so excited.
So now, are you guys a 501c, or you
We
just
are.
have some really nice beneficiaries that are helping you out? Or?
We have the one or two beneficiaries are wonderful. We just don't have quite enough. And we are a 501c3 nonprofit. And so next door with our new building, I won't elaborate much on that, but we will have a new wing for the miniatures, and we'll have a space for our community workshops. So we can offer to the public, monthly, we're going to make a couch, or we're going to make a front
Really?
porch, or we're going to do a room box, or we're going to make whatever, miniature.
Okay, so the original club has disbanded, but you're going to bring it back.
I'm not sure if we're going to really bring back the club, but we're going to bring back opportunity for the community.
That is so awesome.
It's very cool.
And now you've got a couple other room boxes here. One of them is an office. The guy's got a telescope in there and shelves with pottery and a desk. And oh man, this case here is just full of stuff.
Right. So
I'm not even going to start going through it. We got bathtubs and tables and chairs and armoires and stoves and holy smokes.
Okay, before we wander back into the depths, I wanted to show this to you. So this is a room box.
Okay.
And of a ceramic workshop.
Right, a pottery studio or something.
And so this is one of the room boxes that was given to us by the woman that gave us so many things. The quality of what she gave us is just incredible.
Phenomenal.
Just incredible.
Okay, now I got to ask about these feet.
Okay.
We're looking at a box here that has for probably 20 feet in it, from size 10 all the way down to really small.
About an inch.
Yeah, I was going to say smaller than baby probably.
Well, the artist of the feet, Michael Beats, and he calls this the crossing that he did when he was an artist in residence here in 2004. And we were just fortunate to get quite a lot of his pieces because my the co-founder of the museum is the director of the Anderson Museum of Contemporary Art.
Okay.
So we've got connections.
Okay.
Anyway, Michael Beats and the feed is just, just a wonderful example of one of the diverse artists that come into Roswell for the Artist in Residency program. And this piece, when the Artist in Residence program had their 50th anniversary, my co-founder wrote to the artist that might be coming in and asked them if they would be interested in making a miniature original artwork for our new MoMA, the Miniature Museum of Modern Art.
Okay.
And so all of the pieces that you see in the museum are original art by past artists in residence that have spent time in Roswell.
Wow.
So we're so proud of this.
It is really cool. Again, it's a 2-story house, has a spiral staircase coming up the middle, has lots of different artworks from contemporary to very well defined, along with a lot of different miniature arts is what it is. You've got a dinosaur with kind of a flower thing going on around its head, and metal sculpture in there, and just lots of different things. That is really cool.
Very cool. Okay, where shall we go next?
I haven't been here. This is your
Okay.
museum. You're going to take me to the most intriguing part.
All right.
Okay, let's come back here. Okay, I just got sidetracked because of the bling. We've got a case here that's probably 3 foot wide and 2 foot high, 2 level. You've got kind of more of a 1940s decor in here.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the little Davino and the old stereo and desk, and then you've got metal kitchen set, like the old metal cabinets with a stove and the old 1950s refrigerator and sink. And then the basement has more of a 1940s style bathroom and all of that kind of stuff. It's just really intriguing. Little quilts.
All handmade, yeah.
Pillows with animals on them, dolls, a little set of cards, and no, that's Cracker Jacks. How can I read that little tiny box that's like a 1/4 inch wide and a 1/2 inch tall? I know that's a Cracker Jack
We need
box.
the magnifying glass.
This is insane.
Well, over here, a different gentleman that was in the Los Pocos Locos built the carousel, working Ferris wheel. We've got the carousel working now. We don't have the Ferris wheel working, but part of the group would make the different little
Scenes.
the little shops that sold cotton candy or piñatas or refreshments.
Okay, and I'm going to elaborate on this.
Yeah, do.
Because we have a carousel that's probably 2.5 feet in diameter with all the little horses. We got kids riding on it. We got a rabbit carousel that I'm sure goes up and down. And then we have Ferris wheel. Whew, that word skipped my mind. And the Ferris wheel is probably 3.5, 4 foot tall. It's a nice big Ferris wheel. But that's just the two main things that you see. When you start looking, you see the ticket booth with the alien. I had to make sure it was an alien.
Okay.
There's an alien buying a ticket. You've got the fair workers. You've got gypsy wagons. You've got vending wagons. You've got the midway games being played. You've got a little pinball machine. You have another little tiny Ferris wheel for kids. You've got a little train on the other side. You've got a picnic area selling popcorn and Coke. You've got everything that you would find at a amusement park. But not only that, as you come around the side of this display, and I don't know if it's actually part of it, you've got a bunch of minuets, or is that what those are called?
Marionettes.
Marionettes, there we go, that are on a puppet stage. You've got a wagon that's a vending wagon with gypsies, with a really nice white horse in front, all dressed up in their gypsy gear. Then you have another marionette puppet show going on, and on top you have a bunch of different circus clowns and posters and horses, and it's the lady on the trapeze with a big old ladder getting ready to jump onto it. You've just got all kinds of carnival related stuff here. This is just unbelievable.
Shall I turn it on? Or?
Oh, you shall turn it on. Oh yeah, and the horses are going up and down. This is just, and the lights are on. Where's the music?
Where's the music?
It's supposed to have the what did they call that organ? The old
The calliope?
Calliope, yes. It's supposed to have the calliope music
Well,
playing.
we had music going just earlier, so I'm
You did.
not sure why it's
Can
not.
you hum so that I get the real
No,
feel?
no,
Okay,
we
okay.
can't. Nice try, though.
I tried. And then as we come around the other side, we've got a clown act going on, like the three-ring circus, some juggling, a dog act. I mean, this just is so cool that you've got a whole carnival in this whole section.
Oh, good.
Now, did the same guy do all of these?
No. So a different man did these two, and then different members did the little vendors.
Okay.
But everything else is just pulled together because that's what we do. We just have a whole lot of things to work with, and when we get something else in, we might expand the circus to show something else. That's how we've, so it just starts small to start with,
Right.
and then we just add to our displays.
And this is amazing the way it's all come together with so many different artists.
Yeah, I love it.
Me too. Me too.
Let's see. This is just different. This was made by a gentleman here in town, and he's passed away, but we loved it and loved the disco ball in there, just to give another kind of architecture. So there are so many different kinds of architecture around here.
Right. And what we're looking at, just to interrupt real quick, is you've got a geodesic dome that has a disco type light on the inside that's flashing reds, greens, and different colors, but it's connected to a pyramid. And it's all probably 18 inches tall, and it's 2.5 feet long. It's just kind of a pretty nice little display.
Yeah, we like it.
Yes.
These are some of the first miniatures that we got when we first opened, and so the collectors of the Los Pocos Locos didn't make everything that they had. They collected other people's. So this was made by Wyatt White, I think, in Santa Fe, and he was a silversmith, and so everything in there is authentic: coral, turquoise, squash blossoms. Concho belts.
And she's naming this stuff, but she can't get the fascination. We're looking at forks and spoons and a little silverware set that are all of 3/4 of an inch long. We're looking at a coffee pot and some other containers that are made out of silver that are all of 3/4 of an inch tall, maybe 1/4 inch round, with a piece of turquoise on top for the handle. Sword and a shield, breast shield that's sitting in a chair. A little casting of an Indian with his horse's head. The horse's head is down. A chess set. I mean, you just go on and on. You look at this, and the more you look at it, the more you see. There's so much stuck in a little 18-inch by 20-inch window.
Well, we were, this building, we were really lucky when we bought it. It was an old office and stationery company.
Okay.
And so it already had these built-in sets of shelves. So all we needed to do initially was just adjust where we wanted something on the shelf, and then we'd create a facade to surround it, so just the miniatures show. Anyway, it was a great building for us.
Is. And everything is right into the wall. It's all built right in. Wow. You've got a little box here that has more stuff than the secondhand store that you can't get through. This is just unbelievable. Oh, and one built into a doctor's bag, like the old doctors used to carry. It's got 2 doors in the front, and it looks like mouse people in there. One of them carrying the bag that he's in. Basically, he's got a little bag that's a 1/16 the size of the one that the miniatures are put into. There's a dresser in there, or it's a doctor's table with another doctor's bag. It's got a thermometer or a blood pressure gauge in there. Dang.
Oh, oh good.
No, I'm not intrigued and fascinated. Why do you ask?
All right, well, this is 1960s
No.
Betsy McCall dollhouse.
No. I'm watching a Mickey Mouse movie on a TV that is, the screen is 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches, and Mickey Mouse is playing xylophone on some sort of creature's teeth. It looks like a bowl. This is crazy. Yeah. And it's got a kitchen on the other side. The lady's watching TV. There's a bathroom upstairs, a bedroom, and a kid's room with little blocks that we always used to play with the ABCs on them, or numbers, the little wooden blocks. And then another, you come down the stairs and you come into another living room with a chessboard and a Monopoly board that actually you can read all of the Monopoly things on. That's, again, 1.5 by 1.5 inches.
The TV in this Betsy McCall doll house was made by one of our volunteers, Bob Darrow, and we depend on him to come up with cool things. So he created that and made that because he thought the 1960s dollhouse needed a real TV with My Three Sons and I Love Lucy and all of the things.
Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, Mickey Mouse.
This is crazy.
And he took the same idea except scaled it down, and he's
Even
got a
smaller?
3D printer and
No.
laser cut. It's way tiny.
This is crazy. Wow. Yeah, no, the one he's got up here is probably 3 foot long and 18 inches high. And then the next one that he did that is kind of the same, it's a little bit different furnishings and some of that, but it's only 12, maybe 14 inches wide and a total of 10 inches high. But the house looks exactly the same.
Yep. My favorite part is the lawnmower. They've mowed part of the lawn, but they haven't finished.
That's right. Yeah, you can see where the lawnmower's been. This is crazy. It takes these guys a long time to do these things too. This isn't just like a weekend project.
No, it is a life project.
And how many of these can they do in a life? I mean,
depends on when you get started.
I'm too late. I don't know if I could finish one out in my
And,
lifetime.
you know, many of them made things, but the woman that gave us so many, she went to classes. So she went all over the country taking a class on building this monastery, or doing an Art Deco house, or doing a Harry Potter, a castle. She was more interested in the architecture. I mean, she was interested on the inside, everything that was on the inside, but she loved the structure of the houses.
Okay, speaking of structure,
Yeah.
we have, oh no, this one here's got a TV in it too.
Yeah,
We've got an old 1940s radio, like what you'd see people sitting down listening to FDR as he's giving one of his fireside chats, excuse me. That's a different podcast I listen to. And it's got the dial cut out of it. And when you look inside, there's a living room and another TV screen so that you can watch a video on that. Wow. They just they kind of took what they thought would be cool and made a dollhouse out of it, or a
Exactly.
miniature house.
Right.
These aren't just doll houses. These are capturing a period in time and more of a, what do I want to say, a discourse on what life may have been like in 1940 and 1910 and in the Old West, wherever they happened to design their ideas from. Wow. And we have more.
We've got, I call it the West Wing, but we have the Pocoville. Many of the houses came from that early period of the Los Pocos Locos, including all the adobe houses, which are perfect for our area.
No doubt. You've got, the adobe houses with all the old style furnitures from maybe the late 1800s. You've got the Spanish, Indian, Mexican, whatever, women carrying things in baskets or setting tables, or here's a man walking out in his courtyard, and you can see inside of all of these adobe houses and the way they were built and designed. Really, really cool. This one's big.
That is very big.
And again, you've got a tile or slate floor, fireplaces going.
Yeah, all handmade, all real stucco, handmade furniture.
Wow.
Just super fun.
This is super fun. This is just amazing. And everywhere you look, you could look a whole lot longer than what I'm looking, and still not even begin to see it all. Again, you've got a little antique store here with all kinds of antiques in it: picture frames, gumball machines, silverware.
The Chronicle, the newspaper office, that was the first newspaper office in Roswell. And then they changed the name later on to the Roswell Daily Record, but that's just a mark of history.
Yeah, this is a capture of history. You've got your printing press in here, you can see. They've got the lead tin types or stamps. They've got Wall Street Journal, and I know that if I had a microscope, I could probably read what was on the Wall Street Journal that day, and this Wall Street Journal is not real big. And same thing with the New York World Telegram. I can read the headlines,
okay.
but you can't read it once it gets down into the fine print. You got a typewriter, you got a guy sitting at the desk, another typewriter, globe, file cabinet. Wow.
Loren, come over here. This one
Okay.
is, this was when we got the Santa's Workshop, we got the Pocoville Opera House. And this is just an example of the fine workmanship that those early makers had.
This is crazy. It's an opera house. You've got a play going on down on the stage, and then you've got your regular theater seats sitting down on the main floor. And you've got your dancing girl sitting in the back. But when you look in here, there's a balcony area that has little booths all the way around. I think there's probably about 10 booths with a chair or two sitting in each booth so that you could sit up above the stage and be able to look down and see the play going on. And it's all set up just like an old opera house would be set up. This is just amazing. Wow.
Our
cool.
dancing girl's not doing very well.
No, it looks like she got drunk and fell off the stool. But we didn't have to tell anybody that. And then here's another one of a saloon, and you've got girls upstairs playing cards around a round table, another one working at a desk, and then down on the bottom you have a guy playing cards. You've got the bar. the picture hanging up above the bar.
Oh no, we
And
got another guy down.
yeah, he's down too.
Oh dear.
Did you guys have an earthquake here recently?
Something dramatic.
But this is just so cool. Everywhere you look. Pocoville. This is like a train station or a general store. Is that what it?
Train station.
Train station. And you've got their ticket booth here and the post office in the back with letters, addressed letters. I'm sure, again, if you have your magnifying glass, you can see who they were addressed to.
I need to get those.
And yeah, just all set up just like a train station would have been. Just everywhere you look, there's just so much more.
Oh, good. Well, this, the woman that gave us so many things, we've got wizard houses, we've got Harry Potter, another wizardry.
With a dragon, with a wizard with a mirrored staff. You've got a child's wagon being pulled by a three-headed dog. I don't know all my characters, so I can't even talk about who any of these people are.
Well, this is Harry Potter right in there.
Okay.
And this is Hagrid.
Okay.
That's his friend.
There's an owl hanging out right above him.
The owl belongs to Hagrid.
Okay.
And this is Dagon Alley.
And we're looking at two tables that are pretty good-sized tables at this medieval, is that what you'd call it, as a medieval scene? You've got the king, you've got the king's chambers, wizards, books, dragons, all kinds of stuff here. And also intricately designed.
Oh.
This is just so cool.
Let's.
Now, is this a Hobbit house?
That
Again,
is.
I don't really know what I'm talking about, but there's a house here that's kind of an underground house with stuff growing over the top of it.
That's exactly what it is, a little Hobbit house.
With braided rugs and a wooden bench, and you've got a really neatly painted, decorated table and chairs.
And it does have lights. We're waiting for our electrician, but he's MIA today.
Oh, no. And he's going to fix the Ferris wheel also?
Right.
Yes.
Now, this is a great piece. This is a garage sale. And it is the garage sale that I want to go to.
Yeah, no doubt.
I know, it's very cool. And then you can go over and pet the horse in the backyard.
Yeah.
But it's got everything.
It looks
And
just like a yard sale.
It does, and it's really fun things that I would like to go to this one.
Yes. I always tell people on Saturday mornings I'm going sailing, and they go, "Oh, you've got a yacht?" And I say, "No, I'm not going that kind of sailing, but it sure sounds better when I say I'm going sailing instead of I'm going to go look through other people's junk and see if there's something I want to haul home."
Yes, I like to go sailing myself.
Yes, sailing's a great Saturday morning activity. Okay, now you've got these.
Oh, these are little black, little silhouettes, and they're probably from the, I don't know, late 1800s, early 1900s, when people cut out portraits out of black paper and then mounted them on white. So they're old.
Kind of shadow silhouettes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is really neat. You've got a couple different scenes of horses, buggies, stagecoaches, sitting by a fire while a lady's spinning, a couple of people just out looking at birds, and just lots of different scenes. Those are really interesting too.
And our little miniature quilts, we entered this one. This is called a yo-yo quilt. So they're little fabrics that are brought together, gathered up, and they make a little puffy round thing, and then they're all sewn together to make what they called a yo-yo quilt. Well, we entered this in the fair this year under the historical, they have a historical
Okay.
segment.
Classification. Yeah.
And we won Best of Show and Blue Ribbon.
Okay, and that doesn't surprise me because if you look at these quilts, again, just like the pottery, this is so small, so fine, and those are each individual, they look like fabric buttons is kind of what they look like because they're all bunched up. And how do they keep the bunching together? They must have to sew that somehow or another and then sew all the pieces together, and there's got to be 300 pieces that are all stitched together to make this quilt. This is just crazy.
It is just so cute.
I can't imagine having that much time or having the patience, because I'm not a patient person. Tedious stuff drives me absolutely nuts. I'm not a puzzler or anything else. And it just fascinates me that people actually can not go absolutely crazy and tear this stuff apart before they get it even halfway finished. Wow.
Well, we needed to represent the royals. We took down the Meghan and Harry paper dolls that we had in here. They weren't popular, but we do have Henry VIII and Victoria, and all of these dolls were made by a lady in England, Peggy Nesbeth, and she was really more interested in costumes, authentic costumes. So that's what you see here are from Queen Victoria, Queen Elizabeth, Charles, Henry VIII, Louis XIV. She researched what they were wearing, you know, their
the fashions of the day,
or the coronation outfits, and then copied them as closely as she could. So they're cool.
They're really cool. All of these dolls they're quite a bit smaller than what I'd say a Barbie doll is. They're probably 10 inches, 12 inches tall at the most. And they're dressed in the really ornate clothing of the royals with the jewels and the buttons and swords, crowns, headdresses. It's just amazing. And here's a time capsule right there as far as this is what they all look like at the time.
You were inquiring earlier, I think, about, you know, where things come from. And of course, we get a lot of donations, but we also get people that go shopping for us.
Oh, really?
And so a gentleman in Albuquerque bought and brought down to us this sterling silver tea set.
Okay.
This sterling silver collection of English dinner plates. Servingware. The little Limoges pieces. So it's fun to not have a complete piece already put together, but to bring all the things that we have and make our own display.
And you're willing to take anything that people bring to you?
We're willing to take anything.
How awesome is that? And then you have an Egyptian set up here with, I don't even know what you'd call an old Egyptian house, but you've got the Sphinx type animals and the mummies and the King Tut looking things.
And Cleopatra's up there
Oh.
On top, looking over, making sure everything's going well.
When you visit this museum, you can't just look in one place and see what's there. You've got to look up, you've got to look sideways, because all this stuff ties together in some strange way to make a really cool display. Wow. This is just so neat.
Oh, good.
Well, Elaine, I really appreciate you taking us through here.
Oh, it's wonderful.
What does your museum cost when you come here?
The museum is free.
The museum's free.
Yes, it is.
You can't beat that.
We thought about charging an admittance amount, but when people come to the door and they've got 6 kids, you know, it's just more trouble for us to try and count and a children's rate, an adult rate. It's just free. And then we like donations. We have a donation box, and that's what we get.
Okay.
And
Now, you just mentioned kids. And the lady earlier that we were talking with, she mentioned kids. Let's go look at your kids section.
Let's do it. Okay, bye-bye Art Deco. Okay,
Yeah.
I want to point this out. This is a paperweight museum or a paperweight gallery. So all of those are hand-blown glass,
No.
little tiny, beautiful, beautiful paperweights. But what I also want to point out are the lights in there. My friend Bob Darrow that makes things with 3D printer, I told him that I needed more illumination so people could see the paperweights. And he 3D printed those little lights and put LED lights in there. So we've got an illuminated paperweight gallery
This
with
is
some
insane.
very cool lights.
And those are all hand blown.
Hand blown, or some of them are called millefiori. They're little skinny glass rods that
Okay.
are all put together to make a flower, and then they're heated up and then they're sliced off.
Okay, and there's probably 100 different glass paperweights in here, illuminated by those lights she was just talking
Very
about.
cool.
And this is kind of a Roman decor, or Roman Colosseum type building. I don't really
looks
know what you call
marble.
it. Yeah. And really cool display.
Okay, children's area.
Children, yes, because you're set up to entertain children also. And you also have a pretty nice website.
Oh, thank you.
And what's the website?
Miniatures and Curious Collections Museum.org.
Okay.
It's long, but it works.
Right.
Okay, here's our kids' play area.
Okay.
And they know it's for them, and they beeline here, and they have such a good time. One of the things I want to point out is this piece that came from Kansas City, and it came from an estate sale of a theater, a person that had been involved in the theater that was closing out a lot of their things. And it is a replica of the Kansas City Art Museum.
Okay.
Probably, give or take, probably a few little liberties, but you can see the stairs, the big
staircases.
columns, the gargoyles, these wonderful windows.
Right.
And what's special about it, it's 3 floors. What's neat about it are the furniture is glued down.
Oh, is it?
So kids can come in with their little plastic poodle and play in the bedroom, but they aren't going to trash the dollhouse.
Okay.
Which is great. So
Yes.
they can have fun playing with it.
Okay, and then you've got little dolls that they can lay on the bed or sit in the chairs or stick in the bathtub. Lots of different sizes or shapes of dolls. You've got a little miniature train set that they can wheel around. You've got some little horses, a little caterpillar that has a chair on it, a rocking caterpillar, I guess. And then some other doll houses. Now, are all these furnishings glued in also, or can they move those around?
That they can move them around. This is the only one that's glued down.
Okay, they've got 4 other, 5 other doll houses that have different types of furnishings, cars, quilts, dolls, high chairs, beds, everything that the kids can play with. And then you have easel here that I assume you change out every once in a while. The kids can do their artwork on the easel. Got benches.
Why this became why it was such a good idea is the first summer we opened for the UFO Festival. People would come in and they've got, their whole families, and they're
Right.
tired and they want to sit down and check their messages and let their kids play. And so that's how that all came about, is just a need, recognizing a need for families. So
Well, and I'll go a little bit further on that. If you've got little kids, this is a great place for them to hang out and experience the museum while the parents are totally consumed with what they're seeing on the other side.
Or go shopping.
Right.
They can shop.
Oh, well, I didn't even think about leaving them here for you to be a babysitter.
No, shopping at our Buy-zaar.
Oh, you've got a Buy-zaar.
Yes, we call it a Buy-zaar because this is our vintage things, our nicer than garage sale kind of things that we need to sell and make money for our museum. And then we've got our fabulous gift shop. But what's neat, one of the neat things about the gift shop is we sell local artwork.
Okay.
And in fact, Susie is one of them.
She's an artist?
She makes bumblebees.
Bumblebees.
And little aliens, and they are big sellers, I can tell you that.
Critters.
I call them critters.
That's cool. That is way cool. Well, this has been so much fun, and I'm going to have to spend a little bit more time and go back through and see some of what I didn't see, and then come back another time when I'm back visiting again here in another year and see it again.
Oh, good.
And I'm excited to see your addition over there. That sounds really exciting.
It is very exciting.
You have a bunch of stuff in the back room and in storage that's all ready to go in there, or are you going to have a problem filling it?
We're not going to have a problem filling it. We'll have the community space workshop, and the gallery will be wonderful, and it will open up between our two buildings.
Okay.
So people that are in the gallery looking at miniatures will be able to go right on into the next gallery.
Cool.
That way. And then in the back we'll have places for people to work on houses that need TLC, paint, new wiring, they need wallpaper, they need a new roof, all sorts of things, and then get ready to show.
That is so neat, and it's so cool to see a museum like this.
Oh.
And right here in Roswell, of all places, you can go see alien stuff, and you can see stuff that I would consider alien because there's no way I could ever reproduce any of this stuff. Don't have the patience or any of that. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Elaine.
Yeah.
I so appreciate you taking the time with us, showing us what you have, telling us some backstories. And I always finish out my podcast by saying the world is full of wonder. And people need to get out and explore. And as you start exploring this, I don't think that you'll ever stop because it just goes on and on and on. And everybody have an absolutely wonder-filled day.
All the roll and go, where am I to go? Meet Johnny, where am I to go? For I'm a young and a sailor lad, and where am I to go?